good questions. Okay guys, it's time for some superhero biffo in Marvel Contest of Champions.
Marvel Contest of Champions is a free-to-play mobile fighting game set in the Marvel Universe with a few RPG elements thrown in.
Yes, and this means you'll be playing with characters from across all of the Marvel Universe. There are characters from the Avengers like Iron Man or Thor, X-Men with Wolverine and Storm, and characters from Guardians of the Galaxy like Star-Lord.
The campaign here involves the evil Kang setting his summoners to destroy the world. But it's up to you to gather an elite fighting team to take them down.
The first thing I noticed was the surprisingly smooth graphics. I mean, this looks pretty good for a mobile game. The stages you battle in all look great, and there's some nice environmental destruction going on too.
Yeah, I thought so too, Hex. The characters look fantastic, and there's some flashy hair physics. But let's talk about the meat of this game, the fighting.
The controls here are fairly simple. There is tapping for quick attacks and swiping for dash attacks, and also swiping left to dodge and holding down for a block move.
I wanted to like the combat in this game. It is what the whole game is about, really, but I just couldn't quite get into it. There's no real depth to it. It feels a bit light.
Yeah, I agree. I also found it a little bit spammy. I mean, repeating swipe gestures seemed the most effective way to secure a win. And while there is some incentive to work up combos for those special attacks, it just feels kind of pointless when in the end you can just spam.
The game does have a couple of extra combat elements. There is the heavy attack performed by holding down the right side of the screen, which is handy for breaking through enemy blocks. There are also special attacks that are built up by stringing combos together.
Oh yes, I especially liked Wolverine's special move. Feel the wrath of my retractable claws!
Yeah, it's a lot of fun seeing all of those characters do their signature moves, but it's just a shame that there isn't more strategy to the fights. After a while, I found that you can just back up, block your opponent's attacks, and then move again to spam attacks. Rinse and repeat for the win.
There is a grind to the game as well. As it is a free game, it does have some of the usual free-to-play aspects. These include replenishing energy supplies used for playing missions, purchasing characters, and of course purchasing the in-game currency.
Guys, I have some issues with the way that you unlock characters in this game. To do it, you need to purchase a crystal, which you can purchase through in-game currency or real money, but you don't get to pick which character you unlock, it randomizes it.
Yeah, that's really annoying. If I'm going to spend real-world money on a character, I should get to pick which one. There is also a multiplayer part to the game. Here you can compete against other players online or team up with an alliance to complete events together. And I found those to be pretty fun.
Yeah, it was pretty cool teaming up online with other players to complete goals, and it gives you some nice rewards for upgrading your characters.
All right, you two, we should wrap this up.
All right, Darren. Well, this is a great looking game, and it is cool to play as these Marvel characters, but guys, I just didn't enjoy the combat, so I have to give it 2 out of 5 rubber chickens.
I actually think there's quite a lot of content to play through here, which is especially great for Marvel fans. And once again, you can play through this entire game without spending any real-world money. So I'm giving it 3 out of 5 rubber chickens. Darren, who's your favourite superhero?
Oh, well, Iron Man, of course.
Oh, is that because he's got all those cool lasers?
Negative, because he studied hard and made risky yet wise investment decisions.
All right, that makes sense.
But the lasers are quite cool.
Yeah, he shoots him out of his hands. That's awesome.
They're actually called repulsor rays.
It's a good time to be a fan of superheroes, you guys. There's cartoons, comics, movies, and of course, plenty of video games.
Yes, and now some of Marvel's best superheroes have teamed up for the Avengers Battle for Earth.
Oh!
The blood surge.
In Avengers Battle for Earth, the Skrull, an evil alien race, are searching for a new home after losing their own.
The Skrulls, a shape-shifting warlike race. They have come to your world, taking the identities of your greatest heroes.
They're doing this by taking the form of humans and heroes alike. And this explains why you'll be going up against such iconic characters as Thor,
Thor is here!
Captain America,
Surrender now, son.
the Hulk, and Iron Man.
Make your move! The story is based on the Secret Invasion series written by Brian Michael Bendis, one of the biggest names in comic books.
It's a great story, Darren, but it's not told very well here.
Reed Richards discovers that Skrulls walk among us, but
A series of very static comic book pages and narration by Watcher Uatu doesn't really go far enough to make you feel like the planet is actually in peril.
the plan, open a portal that will draw their headquarters into the negative zone, disposing of them in one fell swoop.
Well, it doesn't, but really it's just there to give you a bit of background as to why you're doing all of this fighting. Lots and lots of fighting.
There are 9 playable characters to begin with a further 11 to be unlocked. They take their visual and fighting styles more from the comics than from the Avengers movie.
Breaker ready.
There are some famous Marvel locations that you fight in, though, such as the S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier and Mr. Fantastic's lab in the Baxter Building. There's only about 5 locations, though, and I found that a bit disappointing.
Yeah, it would have been cool to have a level set in Oscorp or Professor X's school, maybe. But what I think most Spawnlings will really want to know is, does it work only having Kinect controls? I mean, do you think it worked, Barjo?
Yeah, yes and no.
Fight.
There is still that small delay with the Kinect when it's reading your movements, and at first I was annoyed by this.
Breaker ready.
But as I kept going, I found that learning the moves and stringing them together actually worked quite well.
Counter. KO. Player 2, 1.
I found this to have more in common with a dancing game than a fighter. Success is achieved by finding a rhythm to each hero, and once you've mastered that, the game becomes much more enjoyable.
I agree with you, Darren. I also liked how each character had a few moves specific to them, like throwing Captain America's shield and Iron Man's repulsor rays.
I wanted to like these special moves, Hex, but I found they were all so similar with just minuscule changes. You're pretty much moving your arms in 2 different positions to perform a strike. I just wanted a bit more variety.
As you do this, you're filling up your Ultra Meter, which you can spend on special attacks that you can activate by simply jumping on the spot. Once you're in this mode, you can shout commands at the Kinect. Commands like Hulk Smash, if you're playing the Hulk, for example.
Each round is 2-on-2 tag team, and changing characters is easy. You simply raise your left arm. But co-op split screen is where I think everyone will have the most fun.
Agreed.
Ninja ready.
Playing co-op with a friend breaks up the slow pace of the game, which is my biggest issue with this one, Barjo. It may not look like it with all of the fighting on screen, but playing this on my own felt quite slow and stilted. I'd get a few moves in, then have to pause, and then get a few more moves in, then pause again.
Yeah, I agree with you. It is much more fun with a friend.
So what are you giving it, Barjo?
Well, normally I don't like these kind of fighting games on Kinect. I find they're all too simple, and this one is a bit simple, but I like superheroes, so I'm gonna give it 5 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Well, I think I enjoyed it a little bit more than you, and I think they got the character voices pretty spot on, so I'm giving it 6.
All right, well, I'm gonna go read the news. Don't touch that cake while I'm gone.
Oh, no.
Don't touch it.
I wouldn't. Just...
Watching you.
You know, Barjo's been behaving strangely lately. Do you think he could be a Skrull?
Oh, maybe. I'm just gonna have this little berry.
Negative! Don't touch that.
What about this present?
Negative! Don't touch that.
What about the little pom-pom on your...
Negative! Don't touch that.
No one will even notice, Darren.
Negative!